Hello everyone. So in this part I'll be walking you guys through on how to make the blog section where you have a list of blogs that you can choose, and all you have to do is just have to fetch all the blocks inside your CMS and just going to list out in the form of grid view. And that's what the second section is going to be about. It's going to be built about on how does the blocks is going to be listed in a form of grid view. So that's what we're going to do next. So first of all, let's create another new component. Let's go to components here. It's already been created like this, and I just like to open it a bit more bigger. Okay, so as you can see here, this is the components, by the way, and I would like to create a new file called blocks. Okay, so blocks is going to be having a JSX extension, so it's going to be blocks.jsx, and I would like to of course, RAFCE, the initial boilerplate code of functional component. So all you have to do next thing is that we must be able to import everything directly inside our app.jsx below here. So in order to do that, we need to have import here first, which is index.js components. So import, how to import blocks, and it's coming from /blocks. And of course, there needs to be, I need to import here as well. Okay, so this is how we are able to import this just within the components here, so that we are once you have imported inside index, now you're able to export it to app.jsx. So as you can see here right now, all you have to do just need to add just beside this navbar, just need to add blocks, something like this. So and the next thing is just need to correctly call it here just below navbar blocks, and it's going to be a self-closing tag, and that's it. Let's click save, and there you go. Right now you won't have anything here, but then because the navbar is actually blocking your content of your blogs, let's comment blogs here. So I like to save it now, and there you go. Actually the navbar was on top of your blogs here, which we wouldn't want it to be like that in the following step. So let's make it change to that particular code of blocks. So let's click save again, and as you can see here, now it's still blocking. So let's go to blocks and start actually implementing all those things that we would like to have to be placed inside the blocks. So blocks is going to be a section, and that section is going to be, we'll be having a couple of blocks which is arranged in a grid view. So in that way we are able to list, or we can actually arrange those blocks that we would like to read in a proper manner, and it has to be responsive at the same time, where when you are switching between multiple screen sizes, so multiple screen resolutions, it must be, how to say, like exerting its properties of being responsive. So that's what you're going to do right now as well. So next, the first thing is, of course, let's create the section here. The first section is going to be let me just go here, and then I would like to open this the main div here, and inside the main div I'll be having the class name. Okay, this class name will be having the width equals to full, and I will directly go to background, because background I can actually choose on what exactly color, and what is the actual size as well of the section. So in this case I'll have to go with F9, and in this case I'll have to have, okay, so next thing, let's add some padding. So it will have padding of y-axis, so we'll be having some padding on top and the bottom. So padding y, I like to give around like 50 pixels and something like this. And the next thing is that that's the first thing we should do. And as you can see here, this is the, as you can see, the block, how do you say, this is a section here, but we have not actually implemented the height here. So that's what we're going to do right now. So the height is going to be coming along with the next section, which is we need to be having a container. So that's the second thing is going to be about. So container will be having the maximum size, maximum width, by the way, to not let the this particular blocks grid view to not exceed a certain width. So that's what we're going to do right now. So that's going to be the next div. So in the second div that we have just created, what we're going to do here is that we're going to make it add the class name, and which is going to be about the max width, and I want to give the actually of 102,240 pixels. So that's the usual height and usual width that we give for maximum width. for containers especially, and of course going to be margin x-axis going to be auto, just to make it to the center all the time. Okay, so this is how we are able to do how to make them have a container that's always stays in the center. So the next thing is I would like to create a section just a div, just to keep all the product cards to be arranged in a really consistent way, and it has to be looking in a grid. It has to be arranged in a grid view as well. So I would like to introduce to you a new, a Tailwind CSS properties called grid. So let's go to Tailwind CSS, and let me just make it big, and I like to type grid, by the way. So grid. So as you can see, I like to go to grid here, and as you can see, this is how we are going to make those product cards to be arranged in this manner. So by having grid, we are able to arrange them in in a consistent way, and it has to be a neat way as well. And of course, on top of all, it's going to be responsive at the same time. So that's why we're going to make use of grid. So there's going to be 3 columns like this. For example, in our project, we're going to be having 3 columns per row. So that's why we're going to make use of this particular code here. As you can see, grid followed by, and then there's a gap here. Gap is basically this is the gap, by the way, gap between x-axis and y-axis. The next is grid calls. Basically, it's like how many number of columns that you would like to have inside in one row. That's what this means. And grid rows is actually, it's meant for row, but we won't be using rows, by the way, because row is already like, it's an automatic way to, you can make as many rows you like to have. So that's what we're gonna just make use of this tree styling here. So that's what we're gonna do right now. So let's move it aside, go to our project here, and what we're gonna do here instead, right? We're gonna have another div, and open the div. We're gonna have the class name. That class name we're gonna start with grid, as usual, grid. And inside grid, we'll be having a responsive different number of column that we would like to be. For example, let's say when the screen is large, and when it is large, we're gonna be having grid calls -3. So this is when you have a large screen. So let's this is when you have large screen, and you can actually fit 3 product cards in that large screen. And the next thing is that I would like to be having a gap, by the way. So this gap, I like to give gap of 8 for both y-axis and x-axis, something like this. And the next thing is, of course, I'll be having padding of x-axis, which is going to be 4. Going to be 4 as well. Text equals /black. Okay, this is what you will be doing. So this particular div is meant for actually keep all your product cards in one roof. So this is, and then right now we are going to make that particular product card. So this particular div is where we're going to this is meant for the product card itself. And let's go inside this product card here, and then just click just have class name, and that your product card is going to be having a background of white color. Okay, and that particular product card will be also be having a rounded XL. Basically, I would like to have the particular corners to be rounded as well, and it's going to be overflow hidden, because I don't want it to be hiding any elements inside it. And I like to drop some shadow. It's going to be a medium-sized shadow. Okay, so let me just walk you through what does drop shadow MD means. So I'll just like to copy this, and just gonna search it here, and as you can see here, this is drop shadow, and you have a couple of styling for just to have drop shadow. Let me just go to shadow, by the way. Okay, now as you can see, we have a couple of drop shadow. For example, drop shadow MD, drop shadow LG, and I'm just going to use drop shadow MD. So this is the most appropriate to our project. So in this case, I like to use drop shadow MD like this. And the next thing is, of course, going to be making the following content, which is image. I like to have image to be placed at the top part, so that's why I placed image here. So it's going to be class name. Okay, let me just close it for it. Okay, something like this, and the class name is going to be having a styling for the particular image. So it's going to be, I'll be having that height of its particular image of 56. This is basically the cover image, so that's why I placed the image right here. And the next thing is the width. So I'm gonna make it to fill up the whole space of the width. and of course it's going to be object cover. The object cover is basically, it will just follow the shape of your div that you are surrounded with. And of course, since it's an image, I need to be having a source file like this. So I need to look for a source. So that's what I'll be doing right now after this, by the way. So let's go to our just Google search here. Just going to look for Figma logo. So this is some simple image that I just do like one of its. So as you can see, I really like this particular design here. So this is what I'm going to make use of, and I really like this. And I'm just going to be making it directly. Gonna copy its image link, and I'll be just placing it directly inside here. Okay, so yeah, by placing it right here, I'll be able to see that particular product card to be listed like this. But as you can see here, it's like the whole, yeah, as you can see here, it's actually not actually filling up the top part here, and there's something, as you can see, it's like the whole part is actually blocking the top part of it. So that's why I'll be fixing it right now. So let's fix it. Okay, in order to fix this particular problem here, we just need to make sure that this particular nav bar and this particular section at the bottom here, they should not be overlapping each other. That's why we need to make sure this nav bar to be having another properties of relative. This is just to make sure that they don't actually they don't actually overlap to each other. They always like be side to side, and they'll never get overlap to each other. And there you go. Just by adding relative to this particular nav bar div here, you are able to make it move away from the top section here. And as you can see here, right now it's only being like this. And of course, I would like to also make other content as well. For example, as you can see here, the whole image is actually filling up the whole space, which I don't want it to be in that way. So what I'm gonna do here, I'm just gonna make it the next part, which is gonna be another div. For example, this particular div, I'll be making all the other content of this particular product card. So inside this div, I'll be calling this particular div here, I'll be calling class name, and that class name will be having a padding of 8. So just to make sure that I'll be able to separate the text from the image, something like this. So as you can see here, I just placed a padding of 8 just to have some space for text. And inside this div here, I'll be having the content of the blog. I mean, not the content, it's just basically the how do you say, the info, what content, the title basically. So first of all, I'll be having a h3 tag like this. So the h3 tag, I'll be also be having a class name inside that particular class h3 tag as well. So as you can see, I need to place font. Usually I'll place font bold for titles. Next thing is text. 2XL is going to be the size, and I'm going to be having a margin of y-axis, which will be top and the bottom of 1 pixels. And I'll be placing the title of the blog is going to be blog 1, something like this. And let's click save. And there you go. Now you happen to have the title of the blog here. And the next thing is going to be a description, a short description of what exactly this blog is going to be about. So I'm just going to be making another. It's going to be a p tag. A p tag is basically for paragraph usages. So I'm just going to say class name as usual, class name, and then it's going to be text. I'll be having the color to be less significant from the title, so that's why I'll be using text gray. So it's going to be a 600, and the text is going to be text of Excel. So it's going to be, I'll be just like to say lorem ipsum, by the way. So I'll just like to say lorem, and there you go. This is a simple lorem ipsum text. I just copied and pasted it. So I'm just going to click save. And there you go. Now you happen to have a single product card which we have just made it just by having this couple of code just to have this particular product card. For example, this is, as you can see, it only fills up this particular space here. And what you're gonna do right now is that we're gonna have this particular product card to be actually copied, and I'm gonna be having multiple times of this. So what you're gonna do here, instead of just copying whatever I did it here, for example, whatever that comes after this particular code here, instead of like making like many of this, for example, let's say if I would do just a copy of this, I click save, and as you can see, I have many. Can actually just make something like this. but let's make it something more how to say, more dynamic and more practical. So you can see right now we have three cards here. What if I able to make it in the form of an array, where I'll be able to call all these blocks here in the form of array, and I just need to just need to make sure that I will be able to call it in an arranged manner, and that's what we're going to do right now. So I like to remove the duplicates. Just going to keep the first block, something like this. Okay, and yeah, before that let me just before that let me just go to my top here, and I'll be adding some array here, array called in this case I like to make it, I like to initialize it with calling const blogs. Okay, it's going to be dummy, set of dummy blocks here. So in this case going to be this particular code here. So the first object of blogs, I mean the block object is going to be, will be like this, and it'll be having ID, of course. Always all the JSON format will be having an ID. And the next thing is I'll be having title for, title going to be having, this is going to be blog 1, that's for title. And for we happen to have description, which is the lorem ipsum, so description. And I like to copy the description from directly from here, instead of just copying one by one. Just going to copy everything. It's going to place it right inside here. And after this, okay, I mean, as you can see here, there's some error here. What you're going to do here, instead of this, you're going to use double quotation, and it's going to place it everything here. And I'll be using comma, and the last one is going to be the image, by the way. So I'll be calling cover image, something like this. And I'll be having also the link that I just copied, which is this particular link. So it's going to copy this, and I'll like to place it inside this cover image. Okay, so that's basically the first the first object of the block, the first block, by the way. So now gonna make it, I'm gonna run through this particular blocks. So let's say I have more than one block, so I'll be having it like this. Okay, just gonna having it like this. So I'll be having 3 blocks, by the way. But then I need to make sure I need to go through every single block, so that I'll be able to call 3 blocks at the same time. So how are you able to do that is that I need to make use of the block of this particular product card code here. What I'm going to do here, I'm going to wrap it around this particular JavaScript expression, and I like to place it blocks here. So blocks.map, and I like to call the particular map function. And of course, inside the map function is going to be having another the object called blog, so that I'll be able to run through every single blog it has. So in this case, I like to have an arrow function like this, and here is where I'll be placing this particular div here. So I like to copy this, just take this div here and open this particular bracket. It's gonna make it something like this. Okay, inside, right after this arrow, I'll be placing that particular div which we have just copied. So in this case, I like to move this inside, move this inside as well, and this one is going to be kept outside. Okay, something like this. Okay, so what I'm going to do here, I'm just going to call every single item of this particular block object. So in this case, the first thing is going to be block, should be block here, place it here, dot cover image, and followed by the title here. It's going to be block, it has to be a JavaScript expression as well. So block dot title, and the last one is going to be, again, it's going to be this, we'll be having the JavaScript expression, the block dot description, DSC. And as you can see here, now let's click save. Of course, now you'll be having 3 product cards, and as you can see, all this actually dynamic, by the way, because the reason why it's dynamic, because this is coming directly from a data which is outsourced. For example, as you can see, this is data actually. All of this data are the same. Let's say if I have to change this to 2, this is 2, and this is going to be 3, and this is going to be 3 as well. Let's click save, and there you go. Now you happen to have 3 separate blocks which have 3 different content. And I think that's the thing that I would like to cover for now. But the next thing is also I would like to cover before finishing this part of the video is like I need to make sure this particular this particular product to be must be responsive, mobile responsive. But as you can see, it is not. I wouldn't say it is perfectly responsive, because you must be able to maximize the space. Instead of just filling up the whole space with one content, you can actually fit two contents in the same space. Okay, so what I like to do here, I like to go back to go back to here, by the way, which I've only placed it for only the large screens, large sized screens. So I would like to also place for small size screens and medium sized screens. So I like to go here, right after the large size screen. I like to place MD. It's going to be a colon here, MD greed. So in this particular medium sized, I'll be placing two for this particular medium. Two columns when it's come for medium sized. For example, as you can see, let me just enlarge it a bit. Okay, and there you go. Now you have two blocks here, because right now this is a medium sized screen. And also if I go a bit more smaller, and this is going to be a small sized screen as well. So it's going to be SM greed calls. This is going to be also 2. So that's what I'll be doing here, and there you go. Now you have two blocks in this screen as well. And let's say if I were to fit a bit more smaller like this, and there you go. Now you happen to have all the blocks to be perfectly arranged in a good manner. We can also have the smallest size screen, which is SS, and it's going to be greed, and it's going to be calls, and then it's going to be 1. So that just click save, and basically it won't do anything, because it's already a default way. It'll only display 1. And yeah, I think that's it from me as well. So yeah, I think that's all for this part of the code here. This is basically how you'll be need to be ended up. Just make sure that you have a particular 3 product cards like this, by the way, and as long as you're able to do something like this, then you're already good to go. This is the second part of the video, where you must be able to achieve this particular milestone here. And besides that, I think we are able to go to the next step, which is to actually create a simple footer here. And this footer is going to be very simple, and I'll be walking you guys through it just in a few more steps that's required. And thank you guys for watching the video till here, and let's meet in the next one. Thanks.